The Tiger tank was supposed to be invincible. Its armor was thicker than most Allied guns could penetrate. Its cannon could destroy an enemy vehicle from over a mile away. Entire infantry units had surrendered at the mere sound of its engine. Now imagine 3 of them, rolling forward together. Steel giants, each weighing over 50 tons, each designed to crush men, morale, and hope. And standing directly in their path was one single Allied soldier. No tank, no artillery, no backup, just a bazooka, and 90 seconds that would shock both sides of the war. This is the true-style World War II combat story of how one man did the impossible and lived to tell it. The day the Tigers came. Western Front, late 1944. The forest was quiet in the way only soldiers truly fear. No birds, no wind, just the soft crunch of frozen mud beneath boots and the distant smell of oil and smoke hanging in the air. Private Thomas Tom. Keller adjusted his helmet and tightened his grip on the bazooka, tube resting against his shoulder. He wasn't supposed to be here. His unit had been ordered to delay the German advance, not stop it. The goal was simple: slow them down long enough for Allied armor to reposition. But something had gone wrong. The scouts had miscalculated. Instead of light German armor, 3 Tiger-I tanks emerged from the tree line, slow, deliberate, unstoppable. Tom felt his mouth go dry. Every man on the Western Front knew the same thing. A bazooka was not supposed to kill a Tiger tank from the front. The monster of the battlefield. The Tiger. I was not just a tank, it was a psychological weapon. German crews trusted it with near religious faith. Nearly 100 millimeters of frontal armor, steel tracks wide enough to flatten trenches. Entire Allied columns had been wiped out by a single Tiger. And now there were 3. Tom's squad leader was already dead, torn apart when the first shell smashed into their defensive position. The radio was gone. The machine gun was buried. The rest of the squad was scattered or wounded. Tom was alone. A terrible realization. The Tigers rolled closer. Each step shook the ground. Each engine growl felt like thunder under the earth. Tom knew the math. Reloading a bazooka took precious seconds. He carried only 3 rockets. The Tigers would be on him in less than 2 minutes. 3 rockets, 3 tanks, or none. There would be no second chances. Why, running was impossible. Most soldiers would have fled. But Tom saw something others might have missed. The Tigers were moving through a narrow clearing, hemmed in by trees and rubble from a destroyed farmhouse. They had confidence. Too much confidence. Their commanders did not expect resistance here. And that confidence had created one fatal weakness. Their flanks were briefly exposed as they maneuvered around debris. Tom's heart pounded. If he could get close enough, dangerously. Close. The bazooka might penetrate the side armor. But that meant letting the Tigers come closer. Much closer. The first shot, second to 30. Tom waited. 30 yards. 25. The first Tiger turned slightly to avoid a burned-out truck. Tom dropped to one knee. He remembered his training instructor's words. Aim small, breathe, fire once. Move immediately. He inhaled. Fired. The rocket screamed forward and slammed into the Tiger's side armor. For half a second, nothing happened. Then the tank erupted in fire. The internal ammunition cooked off. The turret blew sideways. Black smoke shot into the sky. The Tiger was dead. The German column halted in confusion. They had not even seen the shot. Panic inside the steel beasts. Inside the remaining Tigers, chaos erupted. The crews shouted. Periscopes scanned wildly. A Tiger was not supposed to die like that. Not to infantry. Not to one man. They rotated their turrets, firing blindly into the forest. Shells tore trees apart. Splinters flew like shrapnel. Tom ran. He reloaded while sprinting, hands shaking, heart hammering so hard he thought it might burst. The second kill, second 3160. The second Tiger advanced aggressively. Its commander believed the first had been hit by a hidden anti-tank gun. He was wrong. The tank turned its hull slightly, exposing its flank again. Tom slid behind a crater, steadied the tube, and fired. The rocket struck just below the turret ring. The explosion jammed the turret instantly. Flames burst from the hatches. The crew tried to escape. They never made it. 2 Tigers destroyed. Less than 1 minute had passed. The last rocket. Tom had 1 rocket left. 1 chance. The final Tiger stopped moving. Its commander was smart. He reversed slowly, angling the thickest armor forward. The turret locked onto the tree line. If Tom fired and missed, he would not survive the return shot. Tom's fingers tightened. He knew something else, too. The Tiger's rear armor was thinner. But to reach it, he would have to run toward the tank. Cliffhanger ending, perfect for retention. Tom stood up and sprinted straight at the last Tiger tank. The German gunner saw him. The turret began to turn. The barrel lowered, and Tom pulled the trigger on his final rocket. The 90 seconds that changed everything. The distance between Tom Keller and the Tiger tank was shrinking fast. Not because the tank was moving forward, but because Tom was running straight at it. Every instinct screamed at him to stop. The Tiger's turret was already rotating. Slow, but inevitable. Like a predator calmly lining up its kill. The German gunner finally saw him. A lone figure. A bazooka on his shoulder, charging a 50-ton steel monster. Inside the tank, disbelief turned into rage. The moment of no return, second 61:75. The Tiger's engine roared as the driver slammed the tank into reverse. The commander shouted orders. The turret accelerated. Tom could see the barrel now. Massive, dark, pointed directly at him. He knew the truth. If that gun fired, he would be erased from existence. Tom dove behind a shattered stone wall, the remains of the farmhouse. The tank's cannon fired. The blast obliterated the wall, throwing Tom backward like a rag doll. His ears rang. His vision blurred. Dirt filled his mouth. But he was alive. Barely. A soldier's last gamble. The Tiger continued reversing, straight over rubble. And then, it happened. The tank slowed. Just for a second. Its rear engine deck became visible. Tom forced himself up, ignoring the pain in his shoulder. His final rocket was already loaded. No time to aim carefully. No time to breathe. He raised the bazooka and fired from less than 20 meters. The third Tiger dies, second 7690. The rocket slammed into the back of the Tiger, right above the engine. The explosion punched through the thin rear armor. Fuel ignited instantly. Flames surged through the engine compartment, pouring into the crew space. The tank lurched violently, then stopped. Hatches burst open as the crew tried to escape. A second explosion ripped through the hull. The Tiger tank burned. 3 Tigers, destroyed in 90 seconds, by one man. Silence after the storm. The battlefield went quiet. No engines, no gunfire, just crackling flames and drifting smoke. Tom collapsed to his knees. He hadn't realized he was screaming until his voice finally gave out. He looked at the burning wrecks in disbelief. Even he didn't fully understand what he had done. When friends returned, minutes later, Allied infantry cautiously advanced. They expected to find crushed bodies. Instead, they found something impossible. 3 destroyed Tiger tanks and 1 exhausted soldier sitting in the mud beside a bazooka. At first, no one believed him. They thought artillery had done it, or air support, until they counted the expended rockets. 3. Exactly 3. Word spreads like fire. The story moved faster than the tanks ever had. From platoon to company, from battalion to division, a single infantryman took out 3 Tigers. Officers laughed until they saw the wrecks. German prisoners were shaken. Some refused to believe it. Others said the same thing. That should not be possible. But war does not care what is supposed to be possible. The man behind the myth. Tom Keller didn't feel like a hero. His hands still shook. He kept replaying the moment the barrel turned toward him. He later admitted, "I wasn't brave. I was just out of options." That night he slept next to the burned-out tanks. Not out of pride. Out of exhaustion. Cliffhanger, the aftermath. But the story didn't end there. Because what Tom did that day would change Allied infantry tactics, become part of bazooka training manuals, and draw the attention of high command. A question echoed through headquarters. If one man could do this, what else had the Tigers been lying about? And Tom Keller? He would soon be summoned by officers who wanted to know exactly how he did it. Some to learn, some to doubt, and some for a reason far more dangerous. When high command heard the story, Tom Keller had barely slept when the order arrived. 2 officers. No explanation. No questions allowed. "Private Keller, you're coming with us." Tom thought he was in trouble. In war, unbelievable stories often brought suspicion before praise. The walk into silence. They escorted him past rows of tents and armored vehicles. Men stared. Some whispered. Others just watched, as if he were something unreal. Inside a command tent, maps covered the walls. Red and blue arrows crisscrossed the western front. At the center stood a colonel, with tired eyes and a jaw clenched, so tight it looked painful. He didn't smile. He didn't congratulate. He asked only one question. "Tell me exactly what you did." The interrogation. For nearly an hour, Tom described every second. Where he stood, how close the tanks were, why he waited, where he aimed. Officers interrupted constantly. "You're saying you charged a tiger? You fired from under 20 meters. You're aware that doctrine says this is impossible?" Tom nodded. "I know what doctrine says, sir." "I know what happened." Silence filled the tent. Then the colonel spoke quietly. "Do you realize what this means?" A threat to a myth. The Tiger tank wasn't just steel. It was a symbol. German propaganda had built it into an unstoppable legend. But Allied intelligence had quietly done the same, warning soldiers that Tigers were nearly invulnerable. Fear was part of the strategy. Tom's story shattered that fear. 1 man, 3 rockets, 3 kills. If soldiers learned the truth, they might stop running. The unexpected order. Instead of a medal, Tom received an assignment. He was ordered to teach, not to infantry units, but to instructors, in locked rooms, with no press, no photographers. Tom demonstrated where to aim, how to wait, how to let the Tiger come close, terrifyingly close. Officers took notes. Diagrams were drawn. Weak points were circled. The myth was quietly being dismantled. German reaction. Captured German reports told another story. Tank commanders were furious. Crews were shaken. One report stated, "Enemy infantry now engage Tigers aggressively." Losses increasing. German command suspected sabotage. They never imagined the truth. Their greatest tank was being studied and defeated by the very men it was meant to terrify. The story that couldn't be told. Despite everything, Tom's name never appeared in newspapers. No headlines, no parades. The official report described the incident as multiple anti-tank engagements under favorable conditions. Boring, safe, forgettable. Tom understood why. Heroes inspire, but broken myths change wars. The cost of knowing. That night, alone, Tom sat outside his tent. The smell of burning fuel still haunted him. He knew something others didn't. Victory wasn't clean. It wasn't cinematic. It was luck, fear, and timing, all colliding in seconds. And next time, luck might not be there. Final cliffhanger. Weeks later, Tom received new orders. He was being transferred. Not home, not to training, but back to the front, to a sector where intelligence reported even heavier armor. As he picked up his bazooka again, one thought echoed in his mind. The Tigers were not the last monsters on this battlefield, and the war was far from over. The man who walked away from the Tigers. Back to the front. The new sector was worse. Open fields, long sight lines, perfect terrain for German armor. Tom Keller knew his luck was already spent. This time, there would be no ruined farmhouse. No narrow clearing, no perfect angle, just tanks and courage. But something had changed. Tom wasn't afraid of the Tiger anymore. He respected it, but he understood it. The last engagement. Days later, German armor appeared again. Not 3, 5. This time, Tom didn't charge alone. Infantry squads moved with discipline. Bazooka teams waited silently. They let the tanks come close. Then they struck together. 2 Tigers burned. 1 retreated. The rest turned back. For the first time, German armor withdrew from infantry. That moment didn't make headlines. But it marked the end of the Tiger's psychological dominance. The war moves on. Weeks passed. The front shifted. The Allies pushed forward. The Tigers still killed men. But they no longer ruled the battlefield. They could be hunted. And fear had changed sides. What happened to Tom Keller? Tom survived the war. No medals in public ceremonies. No movies. No statues. He went home quietly. Worked a normal job. Raised a family. When asked about the war, he rarely spoke. But once late in life, he said, "People think I destroyed 3 Tiger tanks. The truth is, I destroyed a lie. The most powerful weapons in war are not steel or fire. They are beliefs. And when belief breaks, even giants fall." They said the Tiger tank was unstoppable. They said infantry didn't stand a chance. But in 90 seconds, one soldier proved something timeless. No weapon is invincible, and no legend survives the truth. If you want more untold World War II stories like this, subscribe, and remember, history isn't written by machines. It's written by the men who stood in front of them.